Is there even a definition?
Yeah, how do you
Define
describe Mountain Dew?
I mean, I can define most sodas, like root beer. It's got that, that taste. But Mountain Dew?
I can't even
can't.
think of what the taste of root beer is. Like, I can't.
It just tastes of root beer.
Root beer.
That's
Like
you
how
can't.
It's just
describe
like,
it.
yeah. What does root beer taste like? It's like...
Maybe
it's,
this is a complete soda problem. We can't define anything.
yeah, you can't just... And if you imagine trying to describe Dr. Pepper...
Coke and root beer.
That is
Coke
Dr.
and root beer.
Pepper.
Yeah, it's just...
But then
yeah,
how
Dr.
do you
Pepper's
define
just root beer.
It's just more soda.
Yeah, it's just... What does Dr. Pepper taste like? Tastes like root beer. What does root beer taste like?
tastes
I don't
like-
know. A tree?
I could see that.
You could see that? Oh, you could taste
you know
the
what?
tree?
You know what I was gonna compare it to is root beer flavored candy, but that just defeats the purpose. That just defeats
What does it
Root beer
taste
tastes
like? You know, like the
You
root
know
beer
The
sucker?
candy?
Yeah, you know, like root
it's
beer
like
candy?
that,
Yeah, or it's
Yeah.
like, what... describe black licorice. It's like, what does it taste like? Dirt.
It tastes disgusting.
Yeah, it's wretched.
Yeah. All
okay.
licorices.
How do I describe Mountain Dew to Jordan, someone who has never tasted the sweet, sweet dew?
No. I have
He just
tasted
can't
Mountain Dew.
remember.
I can't remember the flavors.
Can you
So-
remember a Baja Blast? It's really hard to forget that.
I never drank Baja Blast. I
What?
Would, yes, I would get their raspberry lemonade
Baja,
at Taco
too
Bell
bad.
instead. And the last time I had Mountain Dew, was when our church did Oktoberfest, and they had 1 liter Mountain Dews and a whole case of them, and I drank them all in like a month, and that was the last time. But that was before I quit soda, and so yeah, I've only tasted green Mountain Dew. I don't know any other Mountain Dews.
Interesting.
Wow.
There's so
Well,
much you could explore.
Okay, yeah, we're going to go... In fact, between podcasts here, I have a feeling we have to go... There's a Taco Bell down the street. And
We
get a
have to
Baja
go.
Blast, and then we'll go to
We
the
have-
gas station.
we need
and then
to
we'll
do a
come back with
reaction.
them. Yeah, so
And
we
I
can
have
have
to
you
taste
try
them all.
each one
Oh
of
yeah.
Oh,
This
gosh,
is gonna be
okay.
amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Acne breakout in the next 2 days.
That's
Awesome.
okay. That's
Dude.
okay. Just chug water.
Yeah. we there's this horrible Mountain Dew that was a Christmas flavor. That was gingerbread.
That's
Oh.
disgusting.
It tasted like gingerbread, and it has to be the grossest thing.
Worse
most-
than black licorice.
It's on the level of black
on the
licorice.
level.
I don't know if it's worse than black licorice, but it definitely isn't as insulting as black licorice.
Yeah.
Like it has to be. Yeah, we'll have to try to
I don't
find
wanna-
that for you.
No,
Now that-
no.
We'll go.
Yeah.
We'll go to the
We'll
store.
go
and
on
be like,
eBay.
We know you have some of this in the back you did not sell because there's
Yeah,
no way you
there's
sold
no
more
way.
than 3.
Okay, and you can't throw it away.
Yeah, you couldn't. Yeah, you can't throw it away. It's a biohazard.
All Mountain
So-
Dew is.
yeah, all Mountain Dew is. Hey, you could throw that in your engine, use it as coolant. Anyways, welcome to the Brains in a Jar podcast. We're having a debate here, or not a debate. We're trying to educate good old Jordan about Mountain Dew flavors and his lack of knowing what Mountain Dew tastes like. I could describe regular Mountain Dew after we've had some time to sit here and think. I can describe to you what like regular Mountain Dew tastes like. It's like a lime, like. Never mind.
You
like
tried.
imagine
Well,
margarita
You tried.
mix.
Yeah, it
Like a
literally
lime
is.
Mountain Dew. Is
Like
what
a
it's
lime-
Fizzy margarita mix.
Yeah. What is it? What does it taste like? It's like a lime Mountain Dew. I don't know what to tell you.
It tastes like Mountain Dew.
yeah. What is it?
carbonated water with lime. Or
Yeah.
did I just insult you there?
No, it's like
that's a LaCroix.
no, yeah.
That is insulting.
That's insulting to Mountain Dew, not me.
Yeah.
You're getting the wrong guy with that one. But yeah, like a carbonated margarita mix. If margarita mix was more like a lemonade
Yeah.
and was really refreshing, and
And
you could just
fizzy.
like drink it raw.
Bubbly.
Okay. That's good for the green one. Yeah, I
Yeah.
can understand that.
Now Baja Blast is like imagine
It's-
you're walking on the beach
Okay.
naked, and it's like just like
That is a Baja Blast.
right. It's like just it's yeah. That's what it's what it's named after. Is that
So it
experience.
tastes like being naked on a beach.
Yeah.
Okay.
But like in a good way, not in like a
Yeah.
terrible nightmare.
Not
right
like
away.
not like you went to a nudist beach and like
Well,
you
what's
were
wrong
the
with
worst in shape type of person.
Yeah.
Like I'm talking about like imagine if you were like shredded on a beach.
And you were the only one at the beach.
And it
And
was
you would-
And
it
horses
was
were
a
gallivanting.
female nudist beach, and you're the only male there.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's what Baja Blast
It's
tastes
a
Okay.
Baja Blast.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I
Yeah.
understand.
And for the
And when you taste it, you'll know.
yeah. For all the ladies listening, That's what Baja Blast tastes
That's
like to
what
me.
it
I don't
was.
know how to describe
It's
it.
like the Axe commercial where the guy sprays it and females just come running
Running.
from all around.
Yeah.
Through walls
Yeah,
for
it's like
you.
that, but less problematic, as the liberals
Yeah,
will say.
yeah.
So we're not here to talk about Mountain Dew.
No.
We're here to talk about the amazing, wonderful movie known as The Batman.
The Batman.
We're here to
The
talk
Batman.
about The Batman, and we are also incredibly excited. I have to say, first thoughts on The Batman before we go into the synopsis of The Batman that I did not prepare, which I'll just do off the top of my head.
Good for me.
We'll have her go first.
I mean,
yeah.
now what do you mean by just in general
Like
the Batman or
when
all
you-
Batman?
When you walked, oh well, I guess that may be a good angle.
We can
to
give
do.
a general idea of like what you thought about Batman before.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
watched the
Go ahead.
Batman.
Okay, give me a before and after. When was before you went into Batman? How'd you feel after, and then after when you come out of
Yeah,
Batman? How'd you
so
feel?
I mean, just watching the trailer, I kind of had the expectations that it was going to be the way that it was,
Yeah,
completely different from other Batman, because I feel like, except for the Ben Affleck Batman, I feel like all the other ones kind of just bleed together,
yeah,
except for of course also the really old ones, but it's like, yeah, I came into it, I know, lots of action, lots of thing. I knew this one was going to be a lot darker, and I was hoping for that, and it honestly exceeded my expectations when I watched it, which I didn't expect because I had high expectations for it, because I
Yeah.
was like, come on, it's the Batman.
yeah,
Like, it's the kind of like the main thing of DC. I mean, everyone knows the Batman,
yeah.
or everyone knows Batman
A-
and
absolutely.
Superman, the top two.
Yeah, those are the
So there's expectations that need to be met for that one.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Jordan, how about you?
I had high hopes for it. Before the trailer even dropped, I think it was a year before anything was even announced about the movie, Robert Downey Jr. was on Joe Rogan, and he was talking about how he's very excited and how he got to talk to Robert Pattinson and Christian Bale. And so that already made me hyped because I love Robert Downey Jr. He knows superhero movies. Probably not dark ones like the Batman,
Yeah.
but he knows them. So I had high hopes going in and speechless throughout the whole movie. And after the movie was over, I think I either looked at Adrian or Miguel. And because Miguel wasn't with us. I looked at Adrian and I was like, that's how you do a
A
Batman
Batman
movie.
Yes,
Like, that is
Yes.
Batman.
yes,
So,
absolutely.
Loved it.
And I totally concur with both of you. Going into it with high expectations and being like, okay, they brought me up. If I go into this and it sucks, like that's on them. Like
Yeah.
but going into it and seeing the craftsmanship of it.
Mm-hmm.
If I had to say what handmade film looks like, where it's truly like handcrafted, someone loved every shot of this
Every
movie.
second of it.
Every single there was no shot that
Nothing
was like
filler
a
or
filler.
anything.
yeah.
There was
Nothing
no
filler.
there was no like, oh crap, we need an extra 3 seconds here, let's throw in a B-roll clip, or let's do this or let's do that. It felt like everything had such purpose.
And
They
nothing
did.
felt rushed.
No.
either.
Nothing felt rushed. And so to go into it as a filmmaker and to be able to like, this was basically an artsy fartsy film with a superhero twist. It was like the Joker, but instead of getting the Joker, you get the Batman.
You get the Batman.
Yeah.
which is what you want.
What we wanted.
What you wanted. And I mean, like, not that the Joker isn't a fantastic movie, because that's probably one of the better movies of our generation.
Yeah.
Probably, and I'm sure some people are going to hear that and get mad at me.
Yeah.
But I mean, the Joker's up there. To have this come out and be like a contender with that, where I know Adrian and I spoke yesterday about the Joker showing up in this, but as I watched this movie, I felt like this was the Batman that existed in the Joaquin Phoenix
Yeah.
universe,
Yeah.
where it's like, oh, like of course he outdates him and
Yeah.
he's like much older. That Joker's probably gone and dead or whatever, but like to have that, I could like watch this and be like, okay, I understand it, and at the same time. A lot of people talk about this movie being so grounded and how it's like, oh, it's so real. I do see the elements, but I don't think it loses Batman.
Yeah.
No, not at all.
That's exactly how I felt about it. It's like, it gives that like our world kind of vibe, but with a DC twist. Like, you look at that place and you're like, that's Gotham City.
Yeah,
Like,
Yeah.
you feel the vibe.
it's the
That
Gotham
it's a dark, super criminal environment. Like, it's like it's just nothing like what would be in this world, but like it still follows this world without being too different or wacky, which I like wacky, but like
Yeah,
made it dark enough.
absolutely. I think like talking to friends. Like I talked to other filmmaker buddies, and a lot of them said, like, you know what, this just made me appreciate the Christopher Nolan trilogy more, which it does. It's like it's a perfect love letter to those movies. But I don't think that you should watch the Christopher Nolan movies to prepare for this movie. If you were going to watch any of them, like this movie didn't make me, what I'm trying to say is this movie didn't make me think of the Christopher Nolan movies. It made me think of the Tim Burton movies.
Exactly.
Yeah. It did not make me think of like hard realism. It made me think of like, ooh, Batman's Batman. Like he's 100% his own deal. And like, you know, no matter how hard realism, you know, you try to interject, I feel like the Christopher Nolan Batman was like almost this, what would Batman look like if you're standing right next to you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what if Batman was like a multi-billionaire and he could truly buy his own plane and fly it through, you know, restricted air zones? Like that's what Batman would look like if you know, you took him off the page and put him in real life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As where this one's more of like the world is created around Batman, not created around the world we already exist in.
Yeah.
Which I think is super special. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And what was I gonna say? I like the way that they made this Bruce Wayne. It makes a little more sense. Like he wants to be the Batman. He doesn't want to be Bruce Wayne. Like he doesn't have time for it, you know. I like that aspect of it because it shows that he's so passionate about one thing. He's not just this dumb, reckless dude who's also the Batman.
Yeah.
He genuinely is like, I don't have time to be Bruce Wayne. I want to be the Batman. I want to do as much as I can.
Yeah.
He's genuinely trying to be a vigilante.
Yeah. And it's like, I think like the biggest problem that a lot of Batman media has is like Batman has the Bruce Wayne side of life down.
Yeah.
Like it's like I think Christopher Nolan dipped in his toes into that a little bit where it's like Bruce Wayne struggles too.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you don't see like that is more of like a superhero algorithm where it's like, you know, Batman and Bruce Wayne don't really get along. They're struggling to coexist. As where this one, Batman's doing just fine.
Yeah.
What Batman
struggling.
is struggling to do is be Bruce Wayne. And I feel like this does a really good job at that. There's this great little comic strip. I can't remember which comic book it is. I think Jordan sent it to me. But it's got Wonder Woman's like, hold on to my lasso of truth and we'll give each other, to be sure that we give each other our names and we can't lie to each other. And Superman grabs his the lasso of truth and says, I'm Clark Kent. And Batman grabs, Batman grabs it and says, "I'm Batman." Like,
that's
that's
his
who,
true identity.
Yeah.
that's who he is.
And so Christopher Nolan also did that in Batman: The Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah.
When they were at the costume party, everybody had masks on except
He went
Bruce
as
Wayne
himself,
because he
'cause
went
that's-
as himself. That's
Dude,
his
I have not
secret
heard
identity.
that theory yet,
That's-
but I've not heard that, but that is genius. That's not a theory. I'm sure that's something Christopher Nolan did on purpose. That is like fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
it's
then
beautiful.
Catwoman also asked him, "Who are you pretending to be?" He said, "Bruce Wayne, eccentric billionaire."
Yeah,
so,
yeah,
yeah.
there we go.
Yeah, and they
Okay.
kind of touch on that on this Batman, how the guy's like, you put on the mask and that's the real you. Like, who you actually are is not your real identity. It's who you are behind the mask. And
Yeah.
it's like, if you're going to be a hero, you're going to struggle to be a normal person, not a hero. Like, you want to be the hero.
Oh yeah, I think at the same time too, it's like if you're the type of person that's willing to put on a costume and jump from building to building.
Yeah.
That guy that jumps from building to building and is like the most alive at night, that is fighting for, you know, that is getting into fights, breaking legs and arms and like doing, chasing down mysteries and like
Yeah.
Scooby-Dooing it everywhere.
Yeah.
That guy wants to be Batman.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
if I did that every night, I'd want to be Batman
Yeah,
more than
you
I
wouldn't want
want
to
Oh,
be
yeah.
yourself.
Yeah. So I mean, like, it makes sense. It like actively makes sense for Batman's character to be like,
Yeah.
I want Batman. And of course, like, there's that moment between him and Catwoman in the show where, you know, she asks him, "Who are you under there? Are you horribly scarred?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, he is. But at the same time, it's like, it's not really about who he is under there.
It's about
Yeah.
who he
It's about who he is as the
Yeah.
mask.
with the mask.
And at the same time, that end part, we're way below past the synopsis. I'll give it in a second. Sorry, but that part where the mask is important in this movie. It's
Yeah.
significant because the Riddler brings it up in
Yeah.
their conversation where he's like, "Your mask is beautiful."
Yeah.
That's not his mask. That's Bruce Wayne's
That's-
face.
Yeah.
Like it's its own thing. It's its own thing. Anyways, I'll give the synopsis here really quick. Batman is a movie. The Batman is a movie about the Batman chasing down terrorisms and bad guys and trying to solve the mystery of who the Riddler is. It's not a complex story the way I'm making it sound, but you know, it's a beautiful. It's Batman struggling with his image. Who is he? Not who is Bruce Wayne and Batman. That's not what I mean. We've talked about that in a second. But not who he is when he's off the mask. Who Batman is. Is he an image of hope or is he an image of fear? Is he a metaphor for something? Like, that's basically what the Batman is trying to expose here. So, yeah, I highly recommend it to viewers who haven't seen it yet. With that said, if you probably clicked on this or go on it because you know me, you probably already have seen the movie. So,
Or you're gonna be spoiled.
absolutely. Or it's going to be horribly
Yeah.
spoiled. Anyways, speaking of which, let's get into spoilers. What was your guys' favorite part of the Batman movie? Jordan, go first this time.
All
Or
right.
unless you want to pass it off to Adrian like you do.
No, I gotta
Give me
think
one
about
it.
quick second.
Okay.
Do you know
Okay.
your favorite?
I know my favorite.
Okay,
Okay.
you go first
Yeah.
while we think.
Definitely know my favorite. I don't need to think about it at all.
Oh yeah, are you not stalling?
Now, I'm not stalling even a little bit right now. On what's okay. So
Okay.
the hard part is you know, I'm gonna just jump to the end, and I know a lot of people didn't really like this part, but where Batman starts fighting the guys, the snipers, the Riddler's goons,
Yeah.
Right.
on top of the building. People were like, "Oh, this movie took a dive at the end," because it's
No.
like, "Oh, he just like went and beat up and he didn't win." It's like, yeah, but that's kind of the best part. And oh, by
Yeah.
the way, they figured it out. They figured out how to justify having the goons dress up like the main villain.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
having just a bunch of like, because you see in the old like Adam West, it's like
Just a bunch.
yeah, the Penguin's henchmen
Yeah.
kind of look like the Penguin, or they look like they have
Yeah.
a theme.
They have that vibe.
Yeah,
They're the little followers.
the Joker's villains are look like him. They
Yeah.
paint their face like him. Like, I think that's awesome that they like made a really gritty way to do that, where they're
Yeah.
like trying to send a message, so they all dress up like the Riddler. But at the same time, not only is that a great like action moment, but like as it comes out of that fight into Batman falling into the water, saving the people, doing his best, like cutting that wire.
Oh, that
Right.
was beautiful.
It not only was it a fantastic shot, that
Yeah,
shot where he
that
poof,
was so.
and falls back into the water, but the fact that he goes and retrieves him,
Yeah.
and it's the kid that
and it's the
pulls
kid.
him
That's
out.
what I. Yeah.
There's so much metaphor in that. And there's so much good stuff in that whole scene
Yeah.
where it's like Batman. Spoilers for the synopsis I just gave. Realizes he's an image for hope.
Mhm.
Realizes he's a metaphor for hope,
Yeah.
not a metaphor for fear, which parallels the beginning shots.
Yeah, that's what I was
Mhm.
gonna say. I like that it went from that to that at the end because it shows like the character development everyone wants to see, and it didn't feel rushed. Like he didn't.
No.
It was slowly through the movie that he went from "You're gonna fear me, I am the darkness" to
I am vengeance, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm vengeance to I am a symbol of trying to be a symbol of hope.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Struggling to.
Well, he
see-
says that in the beginning too. Like, I operate in darkness, and they think I'm always in the dark. I'm fear to them, and
I
then at
am
the
the
end, it's daytime, and he's
Yeah.
just saying, "I've stepped into the light. I realize I'm a symbol for hope now."
Yeah.
I was just like, "Yeah, that's really cool."
Yeah, he says it at the end.
Yeah.
We're all like here, like theorizing. He says
yeah.
it.
No,
Yeah.
he says
Yeah,
it.
straight up,
He
it is.
monologues it.
It
Yeah.
literally. Yeah, I love the monologue.
Actually, and you know, in like film making and stuff, people see like the voiceover
Mm-hmm.
or like the
narration.
as like a cop out.
Mhm.
No.
Not in this
no,
one.
No.
Well, it makes sense why
It
he's
made
actively
so
doing
much
it.
So
sense.
if you think about his monologue, it's not really his monologue.
It's
he's
more like a
writing,
diary.
Yeah, what you see him write down. He's writing down what he's saying. So he's
Yeah.
just
You're
reading.
just hearing the diary.
yeah,
that
what
he
he's
writes.
writing in
Which
his diary.
it makes sense for Batman to have a diary.
Yeah, absolutely.
Honestly, in a cool
I mean,
way.
yeah, totally. And I don't know. I think like this movie, even though it's not an origin story, is a really good like beginner for Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Because we were talking about this
Yeah.
last night, and I'm gonna get to your guys' favorite part and be thinking, okay,
I
got
you,
it.
kind
you
of
haven't
got
gotten
mine.
off the hook yet.
I've kind of gotten mine.
Okay, but where he's like, Batman isn't doing Batman stuff. Like the part where he just goes to the front of the Iceberg Lounge,
Yeah.
like knocks on
Yeah.
the door.
Yeah.
It's
right
like,
there.
what?
He's
Like
not trying
that's
to
not.
sneak in.
Yeah, he's not trying to sneak in. Of course, he does it at the end with
Right.
like showing growth, but like he doesn't try to sneak in. He walks to the door. He's like, "Do you know who I am?"
Yeah, I love it.
like, yeah.
yeah.
I got
I have
some
a feeling.
idea.
Yeah, I have a feeling we're about to get in a fight.
Yeah.
Like, and of course, all the goons like show up. Are like, all right, let's fight. Like, Batman isn't a detective in
Yeah.
the beginning of this movie. Batman isn't a vigilante. Like, he's a vigilante. He's not like a thinker.
Yeah.
He's a force for like.
Yeah, and that's what I
a
like
force to be
is-
reckoned with.
Is like he is in the like you know how it's like the comics where he works with the cops,
Yeah.
and I like that he does solve the riddles and stuff, and he does seem smarter than them. But then you also like in the movie he messes up.
Yeah.
And he's like, dude, like the Riddler, it shows just how smart the Riddler is. It's like,
Yeah.
you really thought that was the answer? He's like, no, buddy, you had it all wrong.
Yeah.
And it shows that, like, he's still going to be wrong because he's not really the thinker yet.
Yeah.
He's more I'm just ready to beat up anybody that I think it is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He's like, he is the judge, the jury, and the
And the
executioner
executioner.
in this.
Yeah.
And that's who he sees himself as being in the beginning.
Yeah.
When he monologues to himself, he's like, I'm beginning to question whether I'm doing the right thing. Like there's all this. There's a really good line in the Arkham comic book that isn't talked about enough. But Bruce Wayne or Batman is talking to Gordon on top of the police
Tower
station.
with the beacon.
Building.
The police station in
Right.
this one where the beacon is, and he's like, you don't have to go in there, like, because at that point the Joker has taken over the asylum. As you know, if you haven't heard of the Arkham storyline,
Yeah. Right.
Joker takes over the asylum and calls for Batman to be brought in. And there's this moment where Batman is speaking to Gordon, where he's basically explaining that he's not afraid of them. He's afraid that if he goes, he'll be going home.
Yeah.
Because sometimes he questions the logic to his actions.
Right.
So it's his acceptance of like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
I might be a little broken. And there's like this awesome little bit, I think, in this movie where like this movie is an extension of that line where he's like, he's so broken up
Yeah.
over this
Yeah.
horrible thing that happened to him as a kid that he's willing to dress up as a big old bat
Yeah.
and beat up teenagers who are like
To-
doing bad
Yeah.
in Batman's defense. They're doing bad
They
stuff.
are.
Yeah, but you like, you don't have to
you
put
know,
him in a hospital
No,
for 6
you
months.
Just like, call the cops.
Yeah.
But no, he wants to do it.
You smack
He
him
wants to
around.
do it.
Yeah, no, he wants
Yeah.
to hurt them.
Yeah, he wants it.
It's like, I think that this movie does a really good job of like questioning the sanity of Batman
Yeah.
at the same time,
Yeah.
especially towards the end when now you have the dichotomy of like the Riddler and him speaking.
Yeah.
And then of course then you get the Riddler and the Joker speaking, showing what true madness looks like.
Yeah. Them
So
together.
like almost justifies it. Anyways, Jordan,
Yeah. Favorite scene?
favorite
Yeah,
scene.
Go for it.
I had to break it down between
Okay.
two.
Okay.
I'm not going to choose the car scene, even though it gave me
It's
goosebumps.
so beautiful.
The scene that got me the most was when, after he got shot with the shotgun straight blank in the chest, and you think he's just down. He can't even move. Selena Kyle has to help him
Oh
up.
yeah.
Oh.
That
She's
was
getting beat
so
up.
Good.
This just gave me goosebumps because it reminded me of when Christopher Nolan's Batman broke his back and he didn't care. He was going to do what it took to strengthen his back and get out of there.
Yeah.
He just already knows, like he knows something's going to happen where
He
he's
has that ready.
incapacitated. So he just pulls out an adrenaline shot, stabs it in his leg, and you see and you feel the pain, and it gives you goosebumps. And he's just
Oh, yeah.
screaming to get up and do the right thing.
Yeah.
And just absolutely demolishes the guy to where when they take off his mask, his
His face
eyes
is
all
flat.
swollen, his
Yeah.
teeth are missing. And,
Yeah.
But yeah, it just proves that Batman, he doesn't care about his own life. He's going to go whatever lengths it takes to get the job done and make sure everybody's safe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So I think that's my favorite.
Man, yeah.
Absolutely.
That's a
And
good one.
can I draw your attention
Yes.
to the liquid in the adrenaline shot?
Yeah.
Was green.
Green.
Bane.
Mountain Dew. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, exactly. No, but that's the one thing I heard the
Yeah.
most. And when I saw it and it was a little green fluid, I was
Right.
like, oh, he's got the venom
Yeah.
stuff in there, which is the adrenaline, like it's
Yeah.
the steroid stuff that
Yeah.
that Bane uses. So I mean, like,
beautiful.
I was like, ooh, that could be a good like way to
Yeah.
introduce Bane is like his adrenaline shot.
I
Is,
didn't notice that.
did you not?
I did not
really?
notice the green at all.
I mean,
I
I
thought you'd
noticed
be the
it, but
first
I
person
didn't
to notice
catch it. Like I was just like, oh, it's just an adrenaline shot.
When I first saw it, I genuinely because adrenaline doesn't look like that.
Well,
no.
so
But that's
the reason
what
I
thought.
didn't
was
question
like,
it
oh,
is,
I-
have you ever seen Kick-Ass 2?
No.
In Kick-Ass 2, both of the superheroes, they have adrenaline shots with them, but she makes them think it's a last resort, like to kill yourself, and she whips that out. That's also a green fluid, and she jabs it in her leg to beat this huge Russian lady. So I didn't
So you're
even
just like,
question
that's what
it.
it
But
looks
yeah,
like.
I did. Now that you mention that, yeah,
Yeah.
the green fluid Bane uses.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's just like I don't know. His theme is like a green
Yeah.
steroids.
Green
Like
steroids. Yeah.
I think that's like a fantastic little like way of like that's. It proves how thoughtful Christopher Reeves is because
Yeah.
like that was like a
Christopher
little
Reeves or Matt Reeves?
Matt Reeves.
Matt Reeves.
Christopher Reeves.
Messed up
man.
now, but Matt Reeves that was a little bit of like just take that one to the bank for
Yeah.
me. Like
Yeah.
like a little green fluid that makes him go crazy. I wonder what a lot of that would do to you. You know what I mean?
You
I'm
know what I
just
mean?
saying.
You know what I mean?
I'm just you know what I mean. I'm
Yeah, I
just
know what
saying.
you mean.
Anyways, Jordan.
So that was mine.
Okay.
Yeah,
my favorite scene.
I honestly forgot about that. Like, and that was like one of the best scenes. Now, my favorite scene. I mean, I don't know if it's like my favorite scene, but like my favorite thing about it is how like at the beginning of the movie, like you actually get Batman's emotions, kind of like when he sees the kid that now doesn't have a father, and he like sympathizes with him and he feels for him, and even what's his butler's name?
Alfred.
Even Alfred.
Yeah.
Even Alfred's like, dude, like he can see that he cares for that kid because he saw how much he looked at him.
Yeah.
And at the funeral too, like that's the only thing he cared about was that kid. It's
Yeah.
because he doesn't want. And at the end he cares about the kid. He's not going for the mayor.
Yeah.
He's going for the kid.
Well, he did put his hand, but yeah, the kid.
Yeah,
the
but
kid
he wants the kid
was
like,
there.
to get the
Yeah.
kid out first.
Yeah.
He cares for the kid, and he doesn't want people, or he feels himself in that kid. You know what I mean? Like he feels
Yeah.
what he knows what that kid could feel, or that he doesn't want that kid to be the way that he is,
Yeah,
because he knows he's not
absolutely.
good news,
Yeah.
even though he's good news. You know, Batman.
Well,
he's bad, but he's
Yeah,
good.
he doesn't want the kid to resort to what he's resorted
Exactly.
to.
Yeah.
So he sympathizes with him.
Yeah, because he's in an extreme in
Yeah.
life. Like
Yeah.
he understands that what he's doing is extreme.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that's why he
absolutely.
battles with it. But when he sees the kid, it's like that's when you see his real emotions and what he kind of also, it's like a motivation too to see what he's fighting for, is because people like that kid,
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely.
he knows they're still good.
Yeah. Okay, so next little bit I want to talk to you guys about is Robert Pattinson went on record saying that he wants to do Robin in these movies,
Okay.
but he only wants to do it. He'll only do it if it's a 13-year-old kid. What do you guys think about the next The Batman movie, The Batman 2, The Batman Returns, The Batman The Dark Knight? Would you like to see Robin in that movie? And if you would like to see the Robin in that movie, I have my own answer. I've been thinking about this. But if you would like to see the Robin in that movie, what would you like to see Robin be? Like, how would you introduce him? Would you introduce him the way that Christopher Nolan introduced the Robin? Would
Yeah.
you like to see the way that Joel Schumacher introduced the Robin? How would you like to see Robin show up in these? Adrian, who would like to go first?
I mean, I don't think I have a way of how I would introduce him. The whole thought of it being a kid, you know, it kind of confuses me because like in this movie with the whole kid throughout the whole movie, he's like sympathizing with the kid. I'm sure he doesn't want that kid to turn out like him. And then if he takes on a 13-year-old as his, you know, apprentice or something, it would probably be like a kind of like in Lego Batman. Where he's
Yeah,
like,
that's
I don't
exactly
want to.
what
He's
I was
like, I don't
thinking.
want you to be my
Yeah.
assistant. And he's like, but he wants to.
Yeah.
And it's like, I feel like that's how they would have to do it, because there's no way that Batman would want a kid
Yeah.
to be with him and do all that.
Exactly. So, Mr. Jordan.
Right when you said 13-year-old kid, I thought the
You
same
thought
thing. Lego
Lego
Batman.
Batman, yeah.
And
Okay.
the first
They
thing that
approached-
popped into my head was, and my friends call me Dick. Well, that's just cruel.
Yeah.
that's the thing that popped in my head. So I don't know. I like the way. I know in the comics and in the shows, like the animated shows, it's Robin and he goes and takes on the Teen Titans and he's a young kid. He's raising him up. But I liked the way Nolan was going with it a little bit. Like
Really?
he's already grown up and he's gonna help him with Batman. But I don't think I'd like to see Robin just yet. I mean, he's still pretty young. We've
Yeah.
seen that. He's still learning his
I
own
think
things.
he has a lot to go.
Yeah, he's got
Yeah.
a long way to go before Robin.
Absolutely. I think that's a good point. Like, this is a long way to go. I'd much rather see a Batman, instead of in his mid-20s, be in his mid-30s before he takes on a Robin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With that said, I have my own thought about this, because I thought about this a lot. When he said that, I was like, that's not the worst thing in the world. Because I actually used to really resent Robin as a character.
Mhm.
Because I felt like, you know, it's Batman.
Batman doesn't need.
No, Batman doesn't need help, number one. Number two, it's the Batman. He's this big,
That's
brooding guy that dresses up as Bat, and all of a sudden he brings a little boy
Yeah.
around with him in
Yeah.
green tights.
It's a little.
It's a
Little
little weird,
interesting. It's
dude.
a little
Yeah,
weird.
yeah. It's like, why is this 13-year-old with you in
Hanging
tights to
around
fight
with you,
crime?
buddy, yeah.
I'm not even worried
I'm-
about the crime part.
Not even worried about.
Why is
that.
he only in his underwear? Is all I'm
Yeah.
saying.
It's
But
a little.
but I used to resent Robin in that way. I used to think like,
That's
everything I
weird.
see Robin in, I can't.
You cringe.
You know, but at the same time, Joel Schumacher's Robin wasn't horrible. I actually enjoyed that version of Robin. Again, a more older version of Robin that they brought in. I've thought about it a lot, and I think I've cracked the code on how do you bring in a 13-year-old Robin or a young Robin. I would like Batman. This is the Batman. Whether it's the 3rd installment, 4th installment, 5th installment, depends on how far we go with this thing, how far it goes. But I'd like to see a later version of this installment dedicate a movie to Batman and Robin, and not just about like, oh, this is them joining forces. Like, I would like to see Batman unravel a mystery of Robin.
Yeah.
And how I would like to do it, now correct me if I'm wrong, there's a couple of key character traits to Robin. Number 1, he's young. Number 2 is traditionally Robin has a knack for discovering who Batman is.
Yeah.
Number 3, acrobatics, parents die, all sorts of things, right? Origin story similar to Batman. All Robins have had something similar, whether it be Dick Grayson with his parents being shot up or dying at the circus. Who's the other one? Tim Drake? No, not Tim Drake. Is it Tim Drake?
Who?
Another version of the Robin where his dad's a scumbag and his mom was never part of his life and his dad leaves him. It's the one that becomes the Red Hood. Tim Drake's the 3rd one. What's the second one?
I honestly don't remember.
They're gonna correct me. They're gonna be mad. I don't know.
It's fine.
That's
Anyways,
okay.
but they know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
The Red
They
Hood
should
one.
know.
Yeah,
The
I
Red Hood
should.
one.
I don't have it on a piece of paper with me. Normally in podcasts, you don't have to get to watch me sit here and fumble. Normally we just have papers and we get to hide behind them.
We're very unprepared.
But basically, I would really like to see a Robin instead of just one Robin. I'd like to see 3 Robins in the same movie. And I'd like to see the mystery be Batman solving who Robin is, and the twist is that they're all 3 different Robins.
Oh.
And that the twist is that they're all 3 different Robins, and you'd have them in different ages, and all of them had suffered loss. And by the way, you could bring in then the female Robin. I can't remember her name.
How
You can
dare
then have
you?
you can then have the female Robin also join in, and that'd be a part of the twist. Like, oh, by the way, 1/3 of Robin is a girl.
It's a girl.
And you could do this
Crack
whole
that
thing
code.
where Batman isn't inherently working against them. He isn't working with
He's
them.
just curious.
It's a part of like the mystery, and whoever villain they can have a vendetta against. They're not there for Batman.
Yeah.
They're there to get revenge. And they're just kids.
Yeah.
And Batman, and of course, what do? They devise who Batman is, and they try to use that against him to help him
To
in
make
their
him-
crusade.
yeah.
I think that would be an interesting way. I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like that would be a really interesting way to have the young Robin get what the fans want, but at the same time still make it a really interesting Robin and
twist.
Batman story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like there would have to be some way to where the Robin has to trick Batman into being his partner.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, just like I said, I don't think this Batman would want a kid doing what he's doing.
Yeah.
So it'd have to be like, oh, well, but I could just, reveal your identity. That's what would make the most sense. And honestly, I kind of thought this throughout the movie, but, me. That kid, throughout the whole movie,
Yeah.
could totally grow
Wind
up and
up.
be like, yo, I want to be your partner.
Yeah, exactly.
He has he has almost the same story as him. Like, his dad dies.
Mhm.
Yeah. And they're
He
setting
kinda
it up.
And they're totally setting
Yeah.
it up.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it would be cooler if it was like, older Batman, older Robin.
Yeah.
Once that, because I couldn't see a young Robin and a young Batman while Batman's still trying to figure himself out.
Yeah, of course.
So
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
tricky
Well,
for the Robin.
We're also missing one of the key traits of Robin. He wants to prove that he's just as good as Batman.
Yeah.
Like he
Yeah.
wants to
Okay.
prove himself
Okay.
to Batman.
See, and that's where the 3 different
three
Robins
going.
Yeah.
works, because
Because
then you
he's
have
like, I can't beat him being myself.
you have
Mhm.
Dick Grayson,
be
who would
better.
be the 13-year-old.
Right.
Then you have Tim Drake is one of them, but okay, fine, I'm gonna Google it. I caved. I'm gonna Google
I
it.
caved.
But basically, you have the youngest one idolize Batman.
Yeah.
Right.
You have the second to oldest one want to prove themselves to
Mm-hmm.
Batman, want to prove that they're as good, want to prove that that's the one that runs off to be Nightwing. Then the third one, the fourth one, whatever, runs off to be, I think Dick Grayson deserves the Nightwing trait, if anything.
Right.
But then you have that one that could go on. The second one who wants to prove he's as good, be the Red Hood.
Yeah.
And like that, it could lean into it. Okay,
could.
names of Robins,
Red Robin.
Batman. No,
Yeah.
well, there is a Red Robin. Actually, that like one of the Robins grow up to be a character called Red Robin.
Red Robin.
Or is it Red Robin?
Well,
Yum.
now you're gonna be made fun of because you don't know.
Dang it. Here we go again. Not Batman and Robin. Just give me a list of their names, dog. Google's such a turd. Okay. Anyways, Batman, the 5 Robins, and who they became after.
Here we go.
Number 1.
The
Drum roll,
suspense. The first Robin, Richard Grayson. But his friends call him Dick.
That's not very nice.
Grows up to be Nightwing. Jason Todd.
Jason Todd.
I knew that. Dang
knew
it.
that. Yeah, you knew
Dang
that.
it. And he's the one that... So you'd have Dick Grayson be the youngest, Jason Todd be the middle one. And then, of course, here, let me get to it. Tim Drake is the third, so I was right.
You were right.
I was there.
You were
I was
on the
getting there.
lines.
And he becomes Red
Tracks.
Robin. I was right.
Okay.
Yum.
Okay, I don't need to prove myself to you. I'm mostly proving it to the camera.
Yeah. Pointing to the camera.
And then I'm gonna say this name wrong.
Go ahead.
Miss Brown. It's Stephanie? Stefani?
Stephanie.
Is it Stephanie?
How does it spell?
Dang it, now I'm gonna look like an idiot on my own
Let me
podcast.
see.
Stephanie.
Stephanie.
Dang it.
Stefani?
Stefani.
Is it Gwen
I
Stefani?
mean,
I'm
Gwen
I'm
Stefani.
reading it phonetically, man.
Reading
I don't-
phonetically.
I didn't do school the normal way.
No, none of us did. I think.
No, well, I mean, like, I did school. What I mean is, like, I didn't do it right for sure. but yeah, Stefani Brown could be the. That's what she is now.
Stefani Brown.
Gwen
Stefani Brown can be the oldest, or at least like maybe you could do 3 or 4 Robins. You could throw in Tim Drake in there, and have him be like the oldest Robin, or whatever, the mentor to the younger
Well, yeah, I was
Robin.
just about to say.
And then you have like this group of street rats
Yeah.
that kind of like work their way up to.
I mean, it makes sense if the villains have multiples
yeah,
of them. Why can't the heroes?
exactly.
That look like them.
I think
talk
that'd be
like them.
fun. I think that'd be fun. Okay,
Yeah.
similar question. Reeves went on saying that he would love to do Mr. Freeze at some point. Would you guys even like to see a Mr. Freeze in these types of movies, or would you like to see one? And is it possible to put a Mr. Freeze in this type of movie?
Yes, it's possible to have Mr. Freeze, and I don't know how I'd feel about it because the last one we had was Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
It was a little weird. But considering how well he did the Riddler
Mhm.
and knowing he wants to take on Mr. Freeze, I feel like
He knows
he's
what he's
earned the
doing.
right to do
Yeah,
it.
absolutely.
But what I'd like to see, in like we saw in the How It Should Have Ended, let's see a character we haven't seen on the big screen yet. Let's see a villain we haven't seen on the big screen
Yeah,
yet. I'd like to see
Yeah.
a new one. But
Absolutely.
I mean, yeah, I would like to see a Mr. Freeze.
I mean,
Yeah.
One that's done justice.
Yeah, and I'd be for it because it's one we've seen, already, but it's not like the
Mhm.
Joker or even the Riddler. Like we've seen those, and the Penguin. Like
Mhm.
those have all already been seen plenty of times.
Yeah.
On screen, the Mr. Freeze is, I think, low level enough, like of
Yeah.
content that we've gotten from him
absolutely.
that he could do justice with that.
Yeah, and like going to what Jordan said, I personally love the idea of doing like a Mr. Freeze, but at the same time, I'd love to see a Clayface. I think
Yeah.
that this would also be a perfect opportunity to do a Clayface, especially with a tortured character such as Clayface. Who else could we throw in there? Like you got Clayface, the Hush,
Yeah, I mean, I kind of want like how you're saying, like darker, more
tortured
complex
characters. Yeah.
than just like
Than
I like
just the
how he made
traditional-
I like how he made the Riddler more dark and more
Yeah,
he's still got that whimsical vibe, the way he laughs and the way he
yeah.
taunts him.
Yet he still didn't lose any zaniness from the Jim Carrey
Yeah,
version.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
I
I,
like
mean, I think that Mr. Freeze could totally benefit. I'd love to see a Mr. Freeze type of movie. At the same time, I don't mind seeing the Joker again, especially this version of the Joker. My feelings aren't hurt, and that brings us into our next segment. What did you guys think of the Joker in this movie? And would you like to see him more or less?
I'm honestly I like the way they did this Joker, but at the same time, I kind of wish he wasn't in the movie at all.
Yeah.
And I saw there. Have you seen the deleted scene of the Joker?
Yeah.
too? Yeah. I like that. I think that was cool. How he's kind of trying to work with him,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I just feel like kind of like you're saying, we've done the Joker. Like I want something new, something different. And even though the Riddler's not different, it's not like we've had 6 movies of the Riddler. We've
Yeah.
had like 6 of the Joker though. I like the Joker. The Joker's my favorite villain, but I don't want that anymore.
Yeah.
At least for the Batman movies. I mean, if there was more Joker movies, I would be for that.
Yeah, well, because you don't want to get tired of him.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like, I
Yeah.
think that's what the biggest fear.
I think they're
Jordan?
just trying to,
Or, yeah, well, like, what-
bring it
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
So when I saw him in the movie, I didn't like it because you couldn't really see his face or
Yeah.
anything. And at first, I thought it was Two-Face because it
Yeah.
was kind of
Yeah, me
shadowed.
too.
I thought it was Two-Face. But when the deleted scene came out, I really, really liked it.
Yeah.
I'll be honest.
Yeah.
Kind of reminded me of like the Arkham Knight games a little
Yeah.
bit, like the twisted
whole movie did.
Joker. Just I like it. I'd like to see where they go with it, but he'd do an amazing job with it. That actor
Yeah.
already
Yeah.
looked like he's gonna play a good Joker, but I would like to see, like we've been talking about, a different villain.
Yeah, and I totally think, like, I think he's a great choice. That
Yeah.
guy to
Mhm.
play the Joker, I think is awesome. At the same time, I feel as though, save him. Give him little cameos in every movie.
Yeah.
And then just save the Joker.
I'd be fine with the cameos.
Yeah.
It's the making him the main villain that I don't want anymore.
Exactly.
And I like the way that he looks is that he honestly doesn't need face makeup to look like a horrendous villain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he looks scary. Like, I like the way he looks all by himself.
Mhm.
Absolutely. And that leans into, like, they're going to do an Arkham show
Yeah.
Mhm.
that's based off it, which is basically just going to become the Joker show,
Yeah.
which I'm okay with.
I'm good with that.
But at the same time, I would never be hurt if this show never went into a Joker
Yeah.
eccentric storyline. But at the same time, I don't care. I would love. I'm the biggest fan of all time of the Arkham
Yeah.
series, but also the Arkham comic,
Mhm.
where it's like, I'm a huge fan of that. So I'd love to see an Arkham version where it's like, Joker's the king of the weird house, and
Yeah.
I'd love to see something like that. But at the same time, I don't need it.
Yeah.
I don't.
Also,
I'm not hurt by it.
I think the reason I didn't want the Joker in this one was because I like that they played off that his mom was crazy, or
Yeah.
his mom was, and in one of the timelines,
Flashpoint.
in the Flashpoint, his mom or his dad becomes the Joker.
His mom.
His mom becomes
Mhm.
the Joker,
And his dad becomes Batman.
Yeah, and I thought that would have been cool if they didn't have the Joker, so it kind of played into that idea that you could think like, oh, maybe she could be the Joker,
A
because that
Joker.
would be
Mhm.
completely new.
Yeah, that would be a really cool way of doing
Yeah,
it.
I thought
Yeah.
that would be cool.
I liked what you said about saving the Joker, and it just gave me an idea. What if you made a 3-movie Batman where now he's put away the Riddler, Mr. Freeze, and then whoever they have for the third one, and he's locked up these people in Arkham, and then
he
the fourth
is
movie,
secretly gathering them
yeah,
all for
the Joker's-
kind of.
Yeah,
the,
making friends with him like
Yeah.
he does in the end.
That would make sense.
That'd be
'cause
pretty-
There's a devised plan. It's not just like, let's throw the Joker in.
Yeah.
I love that. That'd
It's-
be pretty cool.
It's like almost like a build up to like a Thanos level of
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
It's like
whoa,
Mhm.
we got him.
it's
We
like
did the
Sinister
thing.
Six, but they actually
Yeah.
all want to hurt the Batman.
We waited 10 years to do this, you know what I mean? Like, I think that would be,
Yeah.
it would make it earned. Because
Yeah.
right now, even though the movie was great, it's like, it's not that they didn't earn it. It's just like, we saw the Joker in a really fresh way 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And we're
Yeah.
not ready to let go of that one yet.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, definitely
So,
not.
You
Yeah.
know. Anyways, we're nearing the end here. So,
So
closing thoughts. Coming out of this movie, what'd you feel like? How did it make you feel? Was it an excited feeling to see another movie? Was it just another superhero movie in the books? Like, what do you guys think?
I mean, I was stoked after it came out, and no, it's not like another superhero movie. It was very different from what we've been seeing.
Absolutely.
I mean, my closing thought is I loved Colin Farrell so much as the Penguin.
We
was
haven't
so
even
good.
spoken about
No.
him
that was
this whole
so
time.
good.
Yeah.
I loved the Penguin because when you're thinking about the Penguin, I think he's the biggest. Like the Riddler, yeah, you can
Yeah.
make him bad, but the Penguin, it's like, how do you make that dude the Penguin,
Yeah.
but also be scary?
And,
Yeah.
And that mobster 42 Below Iceberg Lounge vibe, this was perfect to add it like that and make him this big bad guy, and
Mhm.
especially the handcuff part.
Yeah,
where
yeah,
he waddles.
waddles.
I'm like, that's perfect.
Yeah.
You added in the concept of the Penguin.
Absolutely.
Beautifully.
So, what then do you think? Final closing thoughts on coming out of it. How did it made you feel?
Oh,
like,
it made me, it like, I always say that everyone doesn't like that. I say that this is my favorite Batman because like kind of like you said, we've seen the Joker freshly in his own movie, and we haven't seen the Batman really in a while,
Yeah.
except for in like certain other things. It's not just been like, you know, the Batman movie.
Yeah.
And I liked it because even a long time ago, when the trailers have been out for like a long time before the movie, huh?
Yeah.
And we've known about
because
it.
of COVID and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
we knew
pushed
about it
back.
for a long time, and a lot of people weren't for it, especially him being the Batman, which he's like he's such a good Batman.
Yeah.
And yeah, to me I had high expectations, and it far exceeded those,
Yeah.
and I like that. Because I usually try not to set high expectations for a movie, but I mean, when it's the Batman, you have to have high expectations.
Yeah.
And it totally, I'm happy with everything about this movie.
Yeah, absolutely. I going into the Batman, like, of course I knew I was gonna love it. It was one of those just like they got me again. Like you earned that
You
$8,
keep coming
man.
back,
That
yeah.
I'm gonna come and go. You earned the $30
You
bucks
earned
because
it.
I'm gonna go
You
see this movie
earned
30
it,
times.
yes.
Like you got me.
You,
But at the same time, coming out of it was like this great. I was telling Jordan last night, they made The Watchmen, right? Watchmen was a fantastic movie. I don't care what you think. The Watchmen was awesome. Loved The Watchmen, one of my favorite DC movies. But it was made, the Watchmen comic book was made in a time where comic books superheroes had been around for a really long time, and it was an introspective look at comic book superheroes.
Yeah.
And the Watchmen movie came out before the superhero genre in movies was even developed.
yeah.
Not that it wasn't developed or wasn't like a consistent thing, but that was back when people were like, another comic book movie. They
Yeah.
didn't even
Yeah.
call them superhero movies back
Yeah,
then. They call
no,
them comic
comic
book
book
movies.
movies.
Another comic book movie, and I think like it's not that Watchmen wasn't good. It just wasn't like it was ahead of its time.
Oh, yeah,
As where this movie here makes me like, okay, this movie's like found its spot
Right where it
in
needs to be.
time.
Yeah,
it's found
definitely.
its spot in the ether, and it's like
It was destiny.
I would I'm so glad that this movie exists
Yeah.
because it's proving that superhero movies can go a totally different route and still be cool. It's cowboy movies, right? You have the resurgence of Western movies. You have this amazing Western movie renaissance where it's like every Western just a banger. You got John Wayne, you
Yeah.
got coming out, Clint Eastwood, all these good ones. And then this little movie called Unforgiven comes out. And Unforgiven doesn't see this idolized horse saddle cowboy that rides away into the sunset at the end. Unforgiven is about a broken man who's done bad things, who is only ever forgiven by one person. And it's this dark look, and it's just like this. It's an introspective into the Western genre.
Yeah.
And it brought Western genre from its golden age to its neo age, where it's like it's no longer where they're making more experimental films with westerns instead of just making the classic western. And I'm so glad that we're getting to see the superhero movie genre
Do that.
blossom into a more grown up version
Yeah.
of itself, where it's not like just this cookie cutter paste.
Mm-hmm.
Not that Marvel hasn't done a great job or DC hasn't done a great job. It's just that I'm so excited to see more artsy fartsy films that
Yeah.
are also superhero movies.
Yeah. And it's not even like a completely out there crazy movie. It's like, it's just completely different than what we've seen. It's still like, it's not like Doctor Strange, how it's just like, whoa,
Yeah.
It's like, this is a movie. This is a dark Batman.
Yeah.
Like, this is what Batman should be.
It's not experimental.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not experimental. We've seen
It's
this
just
movie
going
before.
out there.
Yeah, it's just taking a superhero the same way the Joker did. It's
Yeah.
taking a superhero where they haven't really gone before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Without it being too far.
without it being too far.
Yeah.
Which I love the Joker, but it's almost like Joker went a little too far sometimes.
Yeah. Almost.
And almost, yeah. And not that it like went the whole way or ruined everything.
No.
No. But it's like, this movie, perfect spot in time for it to be made. Perfect message, perfect, look at and I mean, it makes sense that it's the Batman is the character that does it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Anyways, we're coming up on 50 minutes. So,
It's a good one.
yeah, that was a long one.
Yeah.
I could talk about the Batman all day.
Yeah, I mean, we probably can.
Yeah.
Anyways, thank you for watching. That was the Brain in the Jar podcast, episode 7. Maybe. If it's like 8 or something, everybody's going to get in the comments.
7
There's a
and
lot of
9.
reason for people to hate me in this episode. They're like, he doesn't remember any of the rapping.
Why am I even watching
Doesn't
this
even know what
podcast?
episode it is. Yeah, no, of course. So thank you for viewing. If you did, please remember to like, subscribe, leave a comment on how much you hate me.
Yeah.
And
Correct him in all his wrongings.
Correct me in everything I did bad.
Everything.
All the naughty little deeds I did here. Mention, if you're a filmmaker, mention the differences between cameras and that there was a little thing in the corner of there's an audio level thing and the whole time. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Anyways, I'll catch y'all later.